Welcome back to the Weekly Education Pulse. I'm Sammy.
I'm Tony. Each week we break down the key developments shaping the international and independent school sector.
Yeah, this week we have 5 stories from, 5 very different parts of the world. Malaysia, Morocco, the Emirates, north of England, and Vietnam.
Across those 5 stories, a consistent set of forces at work. Schools partnering with other schools, heritage brands moving into new geographies, governments using education as a lever for economic development.
Yeah, the sector is not standing still, and this week's stories are a good illustration of just how many directions it is moving in at once. So, let's get into it.
We begin in Malaysia, Borneo, where Sarawak's Premier Abang Johari has announced that an international school will be one of the first development projects to break ground in Beraya, a new strategic growth centre being developed under the Beraya Action Area Plan of 2035.
Yeah, construction is expected to begin in 2027, following the completion of planning and site identification. The school was set alongside a commercial hub and a mini convention centre as part of a master plan development designed to drive economic activity in the region.
The location matters. Beraya sits between key areas in the Subis district of northern Sarawak, close to the Naya National Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Evidence of human settlement there dates back at least 45,000 years, and some recent research suggests as far back as 60,000 years. It is one of the most significant archaeological sites in the world.
And that is precisely why Beraya, rather than Naya itself, is being developed. The UNESCO designation projects the park from direct development. So Sarawak is being strategic, building a commercial and educational hub nearby that can generate economic activity without touching the protected site.
What's particularly interesting here is the sequencing. The Premier explicitly identifies the international school as a catalyst for the wider development, not a consequence of it. So education first, commercial activity following.
Yeah, we've seen versions of this logic in other growth contexts. Governments and developers understand that international professionals relocating to a new area will not come with a quality education for their children. An international school is not just a school, it's a statement of intent about the kind of place a region is becoming.
Sarawak has been investing in positioning itself as a destination for biodiversity research, tourism, knowledge-based industry. An international school in Beraya is a piece of that broader picture, connecting education infrastructure to economic ambition in a part of Malaysia that is rich in natural heritage, but also developing its institutional base.
And that takes us to our second story, where we're going to Morocco, where London Academy, a British international education provider that has been operating in the country since 2017, has announced the opening of its third campus in Barbouaza, on the outskirts of Casablanca, scheduled for September 2026.
The announcement is described as a milestone in bilateral cooperation between Morocco and the United Kingdom in education. That's a notable framing, one that positions a school opening not just as a commercial development, but as part of a broader relationship between two countries.
Yeah, London Academy has established itself in Morocco with a clear offer: a British curriculum delivered with strong digital infrastructure. Every school is fully Wi-Fi enabled, and the group operates a one-to-one device policy from year 2. That emphasis on digital learning as a structural feature, not an add-on, reflects the expectations of modern international families.
Rosa is a rapidly growing coastal suburb of Casablanca, popular with middle and upper middle class Moroccan families, as well as expatriates. Adding a campus there extends London Academy's geographic reach within Casablanca metropolitan area and into the community with genuine demand for quality international education.
Yeah, Morocco is a market we should keep in view. It sits at the intersection of Africa, the Arab world, and Europe, and it has a growing young, internationally orientated middle class with significant appetite for quality education. French language international schooling has historically dominated, and the growth of British curriculum providers like London Academy suggests families are looking for alternatives and expanded options.
And the UK-Morocco relationship framing is also worth noting. As British schools build their international networks, the diplomatic and cultural dimension of those partnerships are increasingly being made explicit. This is education as a relationship building exercise, not just market entry. Our third story takes us to Dubai, where Dubai School Nad Al Sheba is entering what its principle describes as a key phase of growth.
Yeah, the school, part of a public-private partnership between the Dubai government and Talim, currently welcomes around 830 students from kindergarten through to grade 8. Next year, student numbers are expected to rise between 1,300 and 1,500, with a full campus expansion that will ultimately bring capacity to 2,664 students.
The expansion is being delivered in two phases. Phase 1, added classrooms. Phase 2, bringing over 110 new classrooms alongside science labs, specialist spaces, semi-Olympic size swimming pool, football pitch, and indoor sports facilities.
Yeah, and the principal is careful to frame all this as expansion with purpose rather than growth for its own sake. What stands out in our interview is the emphasis on community and on ensuring that the school's identity does not get lost as numbers increase.
The centre of the school's offer is a bilingual model that brings together American curriculum and the UAE Ministry of Education requirements in what the principal describes as one seamless experience. Not two separate systems, but a single journey where students are learning the same concepts across languages at the same time.
Yeah, that's an ambitious model to execute well, particularly in a context where many children are learning in their second or even third language. But it reflects something important about what Dubai Schools is trying to do.
The initiative was designed to give Emirati families and others access to a premium education experience grounded in Arabic language, Islamic values, and UAE culture. The school is not trying to be another generic international school. It is trying to offer something that both internationally rigorous and genuinely rooted in its own context.
With its first graduating class expected in 2030, the school is still early in its journey, but the combination of strong growth, managed expansion, and a clear sense of purpose makes it a model worth watching closely.
Our fourth story this week takes us to the north of England, where Terrington Hall Prep School in Yorkshire has announced it will join the Sedbergh Schools Group from summer 2026.
Yeah, Terrington Hall is a co-educational day and boarding prep school for children aged 3 to 13, set in the Howardian Hills north of York. It was recently named as Top Independent School by Tatler. Its role is at its highest ever, and recent ISI inspection results have been excellent. So this is not a school in distress seeking a lifeboat. It's a thriving school choosing to affiliate for strategic reasons.
Sedbergh is a compelling partner. Founded in 1525, it celebrates its quincentenary last year, and it was recently named Secondary European School of the Year by Study Travel. And it already heads a group that includes Sedbergh Prep School in Casterton and international schools in Vietnam and China.
Yeah, the merger is the result of 2 years of rigorous evaluation by both sets of governors, and what is emphasized throughout the announcement is the alignment of values. Both schools guided by character, community, and a commitment to placing children at the centre.
Terrington Hall gains is access to shared resources, investment in its facilities, and the wider opportunities of a connected group. What Sedbergh gains is a second UK prep school with a strong reputation and a natural feeder pipeline, as well as further reach in Northern England.
And there's an international dimension here too. Sedbergh already has schools in Vietnam and China, and the group's chair of governors frames this explicitly as an outward-looking strategy with further expansion planned in the years ahead.
This kind of merger is becoming a more familiar pattern in the UK independent school sector. Strong schools joining groups not out of weakness, but to secure investment, sustainability, and opportunity. The Sedbergh Terrington Hall partnership is a good illustration of what that can look like when it's done thoughtfully and on aligned terms.
And well, that takes us to our final story this week, and it's a significant one. Cranleigh School, one of UK's leading co-educational independent boarding schools, founded in 1865. Well, it's announced a new education partnership in Vietnam with Sunshine Group, one of the country's largest and most influential companies.
This is Cranley's fourth international venture, alongside existing schools in China and the UAE. The partnership was signed early this week, and the ambition is clear from the outset. Not a single campus, but a potential for multiple Cranley International schools across Vietnam, with a first school site announced, expected as early as June this year.
Yeah, the Sunshine Group is a substantial partner. Its interests span education, finance, construction, and technology, exactly the kind of multi-sector operator that can provide the infrastructure, local knowledge, and investment needed to build a school network at scale.
Vietnam is a market that has been attracting serious attention from premium UK school brands. We've previously covered Rugby School's expansion in Hanoi, set to open later this year. Now Cranley is adding its name to a growing list of British independents making serious commitments in the country.
Yeah, Cranley's group head frames the partnership in terms that have become familiar across these international expansions. Heritage and innovative thinking on one side, local insight and commitment to educational outcomes on the other. The strongest international partnerships are the ones where both parties bring something irreplaceable to the collaboration.
And what is distinctive about this announcement is the scale of ambition. Most international partnership announcements describe, a single school. This one explicitly envisions a network, multiple schools across a country that has seen significant economic growth and a corresponding rise in aspiration for international quality education.
Yeah, for Cranley, it is a significant step in a global strategy that is clearly being built with both care and intent. And for Vietnam, it continues a pattern of the country becoming one of the most important growth markets in international education.
And that brings us to the end of this week's episode.
Yeah, 5 stories this week: Malaysia, Morocco, Dubai, north of England, and Vietnam. Different contexts, different scales, different models, but each one reflecting the same underlying momentum.
The international school sector is expanding its geography, deepening its structures, and finding new ways to bring quality education to new communities.
Yeah, whether it's a government in Sarawak using a school to catalyse development around a heritage site, or a British boarding school building what it hopes will be a nationwide network in Vietnam. The ambition is real and the investment is serious.
The question for every operator and every market is the same one as always been. Can quality keep pace with growth?
And that is a question we will keep asking as these stories develop. If there's a development in your region that we should be covering, please do get in touch.
We'll be back next week for another global update.
Till then, see you next time.